Welcome to another Music is Live podcast. I'm your host, Terrence Cummins, aka the Music Master, coming from the home studio of Tupelo Music Academy in good old Tupelo, Mississippi. Um, we have a special guest on today. I'm looking forward to interviewing this guest. It's a friend of mine I've met over the years who's going to provide some great information for our Music Academy listeners. So I'm looking forward to that. But before we get to him, uh, we do want to get in just a few announcements. We do have this weekend, we are looking forward to our uh, Tupelo Music Academy open house. It is May the 6th from 10 a.m. to 12. Um, in March, we had a great open house. A lot of our students were able to perform for our parents and students and some of the potential students. So we got a lot of people signed up on that day. So this Saturday, May the 6th at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. This is open to the public. We are looking for parents and students who are interested in music lessons, bass guitar, lead guitar, drums, piano, voice, all the band instruments. If you're looking to play, you got young people, and I'm not going to say old people, but people of all ages. If you're ready to learn how to play instruments, Tupelo Music Academy is looking forward to seeing you there. We do have an information pack for you, 5 ways to get the most out of your music lesson. And you get an opportunity to sign up, meet yours truly. My name is Terrence Cummins, aka the Music Master. So that is May 6th, 10 a.m. to 12. Just like I said, it's a great opportunity to come in and meet some of the staff and meet yours truly. Uh, I was talking to a parent today. His son was kind of on the fence of doing drums. And I said, well, bring him onto the class. He'll get an opportunity to see other young people his age playing, and it'll get him involved. So a lot of times when children see other children's and other children enjoying the class, they jump on in and just be a part of class. Music is definitely a fun activity. That's always been fun for me. Some people do sports, some people do both, some people do music. Music happened to be my thing. But like I said, May the 6th, 10 a.m. to 12, and we love to have you there. It's free to the public. So today we do have a special guest on, and I'd like to bring on Mr. William Pruitt, or as I call him, Mr. P. How you doing, Mr. Pruitt?
Doing great, sir. How are you doing today?
I am good. I reached out to Mr. Pruitt, and he definitely jumped on in and said he could do the interview. And we have some great gems for our music academy music community. So, Mr. Pruitt, I know you, and a lot of people in my circle know you, but some of our parents and students in the music community don't know you. Can you introduce yourself and just tell a little bit about yourself?
Well, yeah, I started out in Amory. I graduated from Amory High School. I was in band there from 6th to the 12th grade. And I left Amory and went to IJC back in the day and stayed there a couple of years from 80 to 82. And then I transferred to Mississippi State in 82 and stayed there to 84 and got my bachelor's degree in music. And then my first job was at Baldwin High School. I stayed there for 6 years. And then I transferred to Okolona, stayed there for 7 years. And then I transferred from Okolona to Shannon, where I stayed there for 17 plus years. So recently retired in 21. Um, I'm back kind of helping out right now until they get another assistant director. And so I'm just having fun teaching young people.
Yeah. So I remember meeting you. You were in Oklahoma at the time, teaching down there, and then I remember you transferring over You have been a part of the Music Masters family, teaching trumpet at one time. You gave a few classes with us, which was a blessing to us. So this is all geared towards music and music classes. And so in this, Ms. Pruitt, I want to jump with this first question to you. Um, we have parents and students that ask a lot of questions, but uh, could you give me a little bit of why do you think music lessons and music in general is important to learn?
Well, I think when you're dealing with music, you're dealing with several different avenues. Looking at it from a band director's standpoint, teaching music to young people, of course, learning the music on the page, the notes on the page is important, but what we do is we teach a lot more than that. We teach them skills that they'll need in order to be good, productive citizens, whether they're in the music room or whether they're, out in public or anything like that. But it teaches them how to work with other people, with different backgrounds, um, how to get along with, how to deal with certain situations that they may or may not agree with, realizing that when they are part of a group, it's not always about what you want, but it's about doing what's best for the group. And so
Okay.
we take it very serious what we do. And of course, we love great music because that's the way of expressing themselves. And we teach different kinds of music, not just one specific kind. So they get uh, um, a good variety of different styles of music, out of the band classes that we teach there at Shannon.
Okay. So music is similar to sports and in aspects of learning how to work together and how to play your part. Because I know Floyd Stevens was my band director in high school, and he was always on us about play your part, know where you're supposed to be, but knowing where you're supposed to be that included everything around you at the same time. So I like that answer that you gave me on that part as far as working together, being diverse, and which leads me kind of into another little segue. And I talked about this a couple episodes ago in the podcast about there's not just one way to learn, and there's not just one teacher.
Right.
Sometimes you hear people say, "Oh, you can only go to this one person," and for certain things I get what they're saying, but in general, when I learned, there were many ways to learn. So I like what you said. So in this question that I'm asking you, when you said there was a lot of different ways that y'all taught in here, elaborate on different ways to learn.
Well, see, uh, an effective teacher realizes that different students learn different ways. Me, I'm a visual learner. Sometimes I have to see it before I really understand it. Then you may have though the student who can just hear it one time and pick it up. But then you may have that student who may not be able to get it the first or second time, and you have to be creative enough or knowledgeable enough to think of a different way that you can get that person, because you don't want to leave anybody out. You don't want to leave anybody behind. So it's very important that that instructor be disciplined enough to where they know different ways of teaching the same thing to different kids to make sure that everybody learns.
Yeah, I like that. I could of course I could read music, but I also could hear it. And it was real easy for me to just people would play stuff. Um, I would hear people sing or play something, and I could just pick it up. It was second nature for me to pick it up, and through repetition, a lot of repetition. And in church, you sing a song, and they'll say the same verse 100 times. So by by the time you've done it, you've gotten that part. So Um,
Right.
that leads that leads me to my third question on here about improving. What do you advise students who are looking to improve on the instrument? Because when you start music lessons, usually we have a lot of beginners who start with us, and they get a little frustrated, because they're not grasping it, and they want to quit. And I'm saying these are the times that you need to stay with us. So if you're advising parents and students when they're learning how to play, what would you say to them?
The first thing I would say is don't quit, because anything worth achieving, it's going to take some work, and it may take some people more work than it does others. So, and we use the word practice, but there is an effective way to practice the way you can maximize, the success of that student. And so I would encourage, whether it's there, with your group, or if it's in a classroom, a band hall, or whatever, I would personally sit down and talk with the ones in charge, the band directors, and kind of get a game plan for practicing. You hear the statement, practice makes perfect, but I look at it as, if you practice wrong, you can become perfect at playing it wrong. So
Right.
you want to have a good sound um, regimen that you do when you're at home by yourself, to make sure that you are practicing on your scales, or some of the students we deal with, if there's a part of the music that they can play, of course they like to play that because they can play that pretty well. But we try to get them to focus on the sections that they can't play really well. That way, if they master that section, then they can play the whole thing, and they'll feel more joy or more success out of being able to play that music.
Yeah, I was always told it's not the quantity of practice, it's the quality of practice.
That that's it. That's it.
So, and I like that, don't quit, because we live in an age of I'm gonna quit real quick. And
Well, let me say this. When I was coming along, parents didn't let you quit, especially if they bought those instruments and paid their hard-earned money for those instruments. They didn't let you just quit. But you got a lot of parents this day and time who would say, if little Johnny's not satisfied, then little Johnny's not going to put forth the effort to be good. So we just might as well cut our losses now and let little Johnny quit. You see, I see some of that more often now than I did in the past. So don't quit. Don't let them quit.
no, I remember going down to Oklahoma to get my first saxophone. And after my parents bought that saxophone, they said, "Now you're gonna learn it and you're gonna play it." And it was there was not an option of even talking about quitting. And which I wasn't gonna do that anyway. I wanted to play anyway. They had to make me stop playing. It was more of a situation like that. But the other part of it was, the one thing that I am seeing, and this is a good thing. Now, I do agree with you. I see a lot of parents who, just kind of, it is what it is, da da da.
Right.
One, and I will say this as a caveat for Tupelo Music Academy: we have some great parents, and we have parents that I've heard say, "You're not quitting. We are definitely going to make you do the lesson. At least we're gonna commit to a year before we think of anything else, because you got to try it out." And so that makes for a better student because they know the commitment is there, and when you have the parent committing, the child usually jumps on in.
Right.
So I like that. On this, so that goes into another segue of our parents. Uh, what your parents know about picking instruments and finding instruments? Because I get that question a lot.
Most of our parents rely on the answer from the band directors. because they figure they've been in the business long enough and they should know good quality instruments. From a lot of times on the internet, a lot of time parents will kind of base a good instrument on how much it costs. And you can find some cheaper instruments, out there on the web, and they're not good quality instruments. So I would say rely on the expertise of the band directors that's going to be in charge of teaching that child, because if they get an instrument that is on the cheap side or it's not good quality material, and then you don't have anybody that can, it's hard to find parts for it to fix, and then you may have some repair people who say, look, I'm not even going to fool with it because I've dealt with those brands before and I know that they're not good quality, and it's not going to be worth your time. So I would say rely on the experience of the band directors, because they're the ones that dealt with, the different types of instruments. Unless the parents are really familiar with them, which I would say probably 95 to 98% of our parents, they don't have an idea, they don't have a clue,
Right.
so they rely on us helping them.
Well, I know I get a lot of questions on picking instruments. I said, at least come to us. You know, find what you're gonna find, and then bring it to us so we can kind of review it and then go from there. And I said it's very important to get. Um, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars. You can get some really good stuff out there now. There's a brand of saxophone that I'm dealing with now that is turned out to be fantastic, and it's not really expensive. But at the same time, a cheap horn or a cheap instrument either tears up easy or doesn't get the right sound quality, and it takes longer to develop the student when they just got
Right,
the cheaper stuff. So I do advise on, hey, find your list, but go to your band director or come to your local music master, which will be me, and I definitely lead you the way.
right.
Now, Ms. Pruitt, so during COVID, we had a total shift because what I'm doing now, I was not doing before COVID, as far as
Right.
online lessons, podcast, video interviews. Um, what do you see the future of music going to?
Well, when COVID was happening, it came to me and I thought about it. I said, this is a new norm. What we knew before as norm, it wasn't going to be that way anymore. With technology, for those people who had to upgrade, for the lack of a better word, learn the technology side of it, because you never know what's coming. And I was thrilled about it. It caught me off guard at first because, like you said, we had never been through anything like that and never had to do that before. But now that it's here, we shouldn't miss any more days out of school. Because if you can't go to school, you've got technology to where the student can still get the lesson from the teacher. I just think, and of course, a lot of these kids are already technology savvy, so they just got to help their help their parents get to that point. But you can always you can always find a good positive thing in something that a lot of people saw as being negative, with COVID. But it actually opened up our eyes to was possible, to do technology wise, and we didn't miss a beat, with still educating our band students and stuff. So
So did
it,
y'all
it
use any? Did y'all use any video technology with teaching your students?
yes. At that time, I was with Fred Hatley. He and I were teaching together at Shannon, and I'll have to admit he was more technology savvy than I was. So a lot of that, went through him. but it was very beneficial, very helpful.
Yeah, Fred's a part of our Tupelo Music Academy staff, and I'm definitely going to utilize his expertise in some of these things. But video was is super important. It's definitely the future because I've done gigs from home. I've done music lessons from home, all through the camera. So yeah, the state of music and technology is definitely merging faster, and they're getting more and more things out there. So, Mr. Pruitt, as we wrap up this interview, and I definitely appreciate you being a part of this. Are you playing anywhere outside of doing band? I know at one time you were doing church, but are you doing any kind of playing anywhere?
Well, I still do church every Sunday. Every now and then I get a call, to do a gig, whether it's, um, every year. I've got some things that are annual, like 4-H when they have their like Black History program. I always get called for that, or weddings, different church events. So I still play a little bit each week, but I had promised myself that I was going to start back, practicing like I'm supposed to, so that I can demonstrate to the students, what a good characteristic trumpet sound is supposed to sound like, and not just on trumpet, but any instrument that I come in contact with. It's important to me that I'm able to demonstrate, to the students the good characteristic sound on
What?
those instruments.
Yeah, elaborate on the practice. So your practice regimen. What would be a correct practice regimen for you? What's your standard?
Well, I have to be honest with you. As far as the church gig is concerned, it doesn't take a whole lot of preparing for me to do that. What I'm referring to is my range is not where it used to be. Um, Practicing, not if not every day, every other day on scales, lip slur exercises to get the embouchure muscles built, back up to where I can have more endurance when I play, and I can also demonstrate to the students what the results of doing that, you know, is to them, and it could be very beneficial to them. So there's some things that I'm looking at doing myself to help myself so that I can help the students that I come in contact with.
Yeah, practice is we don't really push practice. We push play and to get in there and just play because a lot of times my rehearsal or practice time what is play time for me. So that means I enjoy it. So
Right.
there might be techniques that I have to do, but I integrate it into uh to playing to make it fun. So yeah, you definitely got to practice play and play practice. So I like to mix it up. Well,
Well,
Mr. Pruitt, go ahead. Go ahead. What you got?
the only thing I was going to say is that I used to tell my students, I said, when you can play music really well, when you can play what's on there, I said, really, it's notes and it's symbols on a page. I said, but you got to play it in such a way to where it moves and stirs up the person that's listening to you. And I said, when you're able to do that, you'll enjoy playing more, to the point to where you'll know that practice practicing your instrument and your music is vital, because if you get it down pat the way it really is supposed to be, you can affect some people that, man, you had me crying, or man, you had me, patriotic songs and all different types of songs. There folks will respond to that, and you make a big impact on a lot of people's lives like that too.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I love to see that if I'm um well when I play and I feel someone who can really feel what I'm doing, it makes me feel good inside that
That's
what I'm sharing with them, they understand what I'm delivering.
most
Now we definitely have our aspects in church, and then when we're in our regular gigs. But yeah, what you put in is what you receive back.
That's right.
All right, Miss Pruitt. Well, we definitely appreciate you being on the Music is Life podcast, dropping some gems on practicing and sticking to it. Miss Pruitt is in and out of Shannon High School. He's working with my guy, Mr. Terrell Gilmore, who's a
Right.
young man that you had. You had him, right?
Yes, he was a former student of mine, and I am so proud to get to work with him at Shannon High School.
Yeah, Mr. Gilmore came and started working with me and Mr. Metcalf when he was in the 8th grade.
Hmm.
Little young joker trying to asking me 100 questions on how do I do this and how did you do this,
That's,
and
that's him.
he's grown into a young man. He's married with a kid now, and a great musician and band director. So I'm extremely proud of him to see him come up and be able to play with him. But Mr. Pruitt's working down there, and you'll get to see him out. We will have to have you on again. This time we got to have you in a playing capacity. So we got to get some videos of you playing.
All right, then we can make that happen.
All right. Well, Ms. Pruitt, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna put you on hold for a second. We're gonna end this real quick. All right. We appreciate Mr. William Pruitt for being a part of the Tupelo Music Academy Music is Life podcast. Again, I'm your host Terrence Cummins, aka the Music Master. Look for us for open house May the 6th, 2023 at 10 a.m. It's this Saturday. If you're looking to join for music lessons, we definitely want to be here to be your number one place to learn. We have an open community of learning in various different ways. We have a great staff who enjoy teaching our music community. And we use Music is Life podcast as a way to add gems to our parents and students and to our music community as a whole. So May the 6th, open house from 10 a.m. to 12. I'm your guy, Terrence Cummins, aka the Music Master from Tupelo Music Academy Home Podcast Office. Y'all be blessed.